The dusty smell of old paper and forgotten projects was the perfume of the after-school hours at Oakwood Elementary. For Maya, it was the smell of waiting. Her mother, the art teacher, was finishing up a display in the main hall, which left Maya with 30 minutes of glorious, unsupervised freedom. She'd made a game of it, tracing the patterns in the linoleum with the toe of her sneaker, seeing how slowly she could walk the entire perimeter of the third-floor hallway without stopping. It was on one of these slow-motion laps that she saw it. A door! It was tucked between the water fountain and the fire alarm, a space she'd passed 100 times. But she was certain, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that there had never been a door there before. It was old, made of a dark, heavily grained wood, unlike any other door in the school. Its handle was tarnished brass, shaped like a leaping hare. There was no window, no number, no sign that said storage or authorized personnel only. Maya stopped, her game forgotten. Her heart did a little skip beat against her ribs. Curiosity killed the cat. Her mother's voice chimed in her head. But Maya, feeling brave in the empty sunlit silence, answered back, but satisfaction brought it back. She glanced down the hall. The coast was clear. She took a step closer. The air around the door felt different, cooler, and it hummed with a faint, almost musical vibration she could feel in her teeth. Hesitantly, she reached out. The wood was smooth and strangely warm. She wrapped her fingers around the brass hair. It felt alive under her touch. Taking a deep breath, she turned the handle and pushed. She expected a broom closet, a dusty room full of broken chairs, maybe a long-forgotten teacher's lounge with an ugly orange couch, ... She was wrong. Instead of a room, there was an archway of intertwined willow trees, their long, slender leaves brushing against a path of white cobblestones that glittered like sugar. The air that rushed out was not the stale air of a school, but a breeze carrying the scent of rain-damp earth, blooming jasmine, and something sweet like ripening peaches. The light wasn't the harsh fluorescent glare of the hallway, but a soft, golden glow, as if the sun were perpetually setting. Maya's jaw dropped. She stood on the threshold, one foot on worn linoleum, the other poised over glowing white stone. She could still hear the distant hum of the school's heating system behind her, but ahead was the sound of rustling leaves and a distant, melodic chirping from creatures she couldn't see. This was impossible. This was crazy. This was the most wonderful thing she had ever seen. Without another thought, she stepped through. The moment she crossed the threshold, the school sounds vanished, replaced by a profound, living silence. She turned back. The door was still there, frame leaning against a single, massive oak tree, a familiar anchor in a world of wonder. She was in a meadow. Flowers in colors she didn't have names for, shifting from violet to silver, glowing with a soft internal light knotted in the grass. In the distance, rolling hills were patchworked with forests of trees that seemed to be made of crystal and amber. 2 moons, one a pale cream, the other a delicate blue, hung in the lavender sky. A soft, chittering sound made her jump. A small creature, no bigger than a squirrel, with iridescent fur and large owl-like eyes, peered at her from behind a giant mushroom. It didn't look scared. It looked curious. "Hello!" Maya whispered, her voice swallowed by the immense quiet. The creature blinked, then bounded away a few paces before stopping to look back at her. It was an invitation. Maya followed, her fear melting away into pure, unadulterated awe. She followed the creature along the cobblestone path, which wound through the meadow and into the crystal woods. The trees sang a soft wind chime song as their leaves clinked together. She saw butterflies with wings like stained glass and rivers that flowed with liquid light. She had no idea how long she walked. Time felt different here. It stretched and curled like smoke. She was so engrossed in the beauty around her that she almost forgot about the door, about school, about her waiting mother. A sudden, sharp sound cut through the gentle ambiance of the woods. A bell. The distant, insistent clang of the school's dismissal bell. Panic fluttered in her chest. "Mom!" She spun around. The little creature chittered in alarm. The path was still there, winding back the way she came. Maya started to run, her sneakers silent on the glowing cobblestones. She ran past the singing trees, through the field of glowing flowers. Her heart pounding not from exertion, but from the terrifying thought that the door might be gone. She burst into the meadow where the great oak stood. And there it was. The familiar wooden door, still leaning against the tree trunk, a silent window back to her world. She didn't hesitate. She flung the door open and stumbled through, landing on the cool linoleum of the third-floor hallway. The scent of jasmine and peaches was instantly replaced by the smell of wax and disinfectant. The door swung shut behind her with a soft, final click. Maya whirled around. The door was gone. In its place was just a blank, beige wall between the water fountain and the fire alarm. Maya, sweetie, you ready to go? Her mother's voice echoed down the hall. Maya stood there, breathing heavily, trying to steady her racing heart. She looked at her hands. Clutched in her right fist was a single, glowing flower, its petals shifting from violet to silver. She hadn't even realized she'd picked it. "Come in, Mom!" she called, her voice shaky. She quickly tucked the flower into the front pocket of her backpack, a secret pressed against her books. As she walked down the hall to meet her mother, she kept glancing back at the empty wall. The world felt duller, quieter, smaller. But in her pocket, she carried a shimmering piece of proof. It hadn't been a dream. And as she walked, a new game began to form in her mind. It wasn't about tracing lines on the floor anymore. It was about finding the door again. She knew, with that same deep certainty, that it would appear once more. And next time, she would be ready to stay a little longer. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.